Hello and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to give you a tutorial on a tool called ThingLink. So ThingLink is kind of like the name suggests. It's a picture or a panoramic picture that you can add different links to. So essentially, it becomes this hub for resources, music, audio recordings, video recordings. It makes it this one dynamic spot. It's a helpful tool for creating virtual field trips, interactive content to help keep students engaged and actively learning during virtual learning. It's also fun for scavenger hunts and really some critical thinking skills if you hide some of those clues and have students solve steps with the different links that's on your image. When you first log in and create an account, it's helpful if you just use the Google button so you don't have to memorize another password or username or anything along those lines. All right, and once you have signed in, it takes you to the main ThingLink dashboard. I think the first time when you make your account, it just asks you what subject area you teach, mainly so it can give you some curated content there so that you see ones related to your subject area that other teachers have made that you can borrow and copy. So here's some examples of the ones that were made for my specific profile. So I did not make any of these. If you wanted to look at some of the different ones that are there and already exist, if you click the Explore button across the top, you can peruse some of these different examples of ThingLinks that have been made by other teachers and other students. And whenever I see one that I like, I can add it to my media. And that makes a copy of it, so I have my own version that I can edit and tweak and add content to and personalize it to what my students need to know in my classroom. All right, so once it is added, this feature, oh my gosh, this is fascinating. This is so cool. All right, sorry, I'm geeking out over here. I love this type of stuff. History nerd. Okay, so whenever I see something on here that piques my interest, and I want to add content for my students, if you click Add Tag, this is where you add in the interactive content to your ThingLink. So I can move this little plus mark wherever I want. And the helpful thing here is if you're looking at this picture, maybe it's things you want to draw students' attention to, okay? So you have quite a few options in what you can put in a specific ThingLink section. And over here on the left is where I can see those options. So I can add text and media. So what that means is that I can put a title here so it gives my students some guidance on what this specific element is. All right. And this is where description, you can describe the link or resource you're providing. I would say this is a great way if you're using this as a scavenger hunt or as an interactive learning activity for your students. Maybe this is where you type out some instructions. All right, so I'm going to paste my link there. I can add images as well if I wanted to. All right, so it just makes it a little bit more visually pleasing for my students. They have my title here, any description or assignments there. You notice the Immersive Reader just popped up, which is super cool. Immersive Reader is an accessibility suite within all of these different tools that are cropping up now. So it's actually owned by Microsoft that allows you to have the text read out loud. It can translate things, change the voice if you need to. You have lots of cool features that you can use in Immersive Reader. Other cool things you can do here, you can add audio as well. So if I want to add an audio recording of myself for reading what students were supposed to do, or if I set this up to where it's a scavenger hunt, maybe it's an audio recording of me reading a clue or adding something spooky, making it a little more exciting for my students. So once I have added that, I can click Done, or I can change my icon. I forgot that you could do this. I'm going to make it an exclamation point because it's actually, no, let's make it a reading. That's what it is. I change the color so it stands out, and I'll click Done. Okay, so there is my first tag. If I wanted to add more, I could. I can kind of hide them throughout here so it's a little bit more interactive for my students. And here's additional content that you can add. If I do add content from website, you can just paste a website there. The other ones that are here, text label is just purely words, not links and other features. And the last one is creating a tour. So if you haven't used that before, what this does is it adds other interactive tour type of elements to your interactive image. So what you can do is where it says select scene, if you have saved other ThingLinks on here, like what I did, these are ones I saved in my library, I can add some of those. So a lot of the ThingLink images have the little tags and buttons on there, like what I was just adding to mine, but some of them are just purely 360-degree panoramic virtual tour pictures. So if you go through and you're curating and you collect a bunch of those that are related to the same time period in history or a book that you're studying or an area of focus, then you can upload those so that instead of it just being one static kind of picture like what this one is, you have other scenes that are built in. So it's more of a virtual field trip. But I do want to point out you can copy any of those tags as well. So if you want to reuse some of those little pointers and markers we put on this scene, you're not retyping things every single time, you can definitely do that. Whenever I'm finished, I can go over to settings. So whenever I am done with my settings, I'll come over here and I'll click done. And this is where you can figure out how you can share this with your students. So whenever you're finished making edits and changing things, we were on the Explore tab before, so that's where it kicked us back to. If I go to My Media, this is where I can see any of these activities that I have made or made a copy of. So if I click the three-dot button here, and whenever I'm finished, I can click Publish. All right. And it gives me a couple options here. Here are some ways that you can share this with your students. You can embed it into a content block on its learning. Other ways you could do this is do a shareable link. And as long as students have this shareable link, they can look at your products. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. So whenever I'm finished with that, I'm actually just going to paste this in another window on a different account so you can see what it looks like from the student perspective. And students do not need to have an account to view a ThingLink. So ways that I see teachers using this is a part of their lessons is sometimes they just use it as a launching point. Maybe they're having students look at panoramic pictures and interactive pieces and going through some of those resources just to build some background knowledge and excitement about a tool. Other ways I've seen teachers use this is that they actually build in questions and Google Forms and assignments within those different pieces on the ThingLink. So it's all in one lesson, all in this one resource. So there's some fun ways to do that. The ways that I've seen teachers use this as a scavenger hunt is they build in the tasks, and then the way that students turn in that their guess or their answer is also on this too. Whenever you visit this the first time, it does do this little cool scrolling picture here so your students can see maybe where some of those points and things are. And if I'm a student, when I click on one of these elements, interact with it, I see everything my teacher set up for me, and I can click About, and that took me to the website that my teacher had set up where I can read more about this tool. So that is ThingLink, and I hope you enjoy it.